Empire. The Lightning have struck twice, so if you want to keep up with them, you're going to have to train harder.
The world obviously consists from being at the arena. So when you put the helmet on, you immediately stay on the ice in an NHL arena.
That's Bob Tetiva, founder of Sense Arena, where VR is helping hockey players hone their skills. This is the Future Sport Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein. Virtual reality isn't really new any longer, but ones that involve training fluid sports like hockey, that idea seems like a difficult endeavor. Bob Tetiva is taking it on with his company Sense Arena, and it's working with an impressive client list. But this isn't just for the Stanley Cup contenders. It is designed to help all levels of play. Our guest this week is Bob Tetiva. He's the founder and CEO of Sense Arena, which is virtual reality training for ice hockey players with over 1,000 installations in 11 different countries, and they're working with multiple NHL teams as well. Hi, Bob. How are you?
I'm very good, and I'm absolutely thrilled being on your fantastic podcast, which, I should thank you that you're doing this job that brings new technology to the sport fans and to tech companies and investors. It's a brilliant job. Thank you.
I'll take the compliment. Thank you. All right, we appreciate it. Tell me a little bit about Sense Arena. What's the background? How did you get into virtual reality?
So Sense Arena is on the crossroad of technology and sport, which is in fact my soul. I used to play basketball professionally for a couple of years in Europe, and then I moved to my professional career. I did innovations in the telecommunications place, and after 15 years spending in corporations, I moved on to launching startups, where I did actually this is my third startup Sense Arena. I did one in the skiing industry, as we just chatted about your holiday plans a minute ago, going into the mountains. That's another desire of mine, skiing and hiking. And then 4 years ago, I launched this Sense Arena stuff, which is based on technology called virtual reality, already very well established. But back in the 2018, it was really kind of the second chance for that, because virtual reality started back in 1960s with the first kind of trials, which were more funny than real. But now this is the time when this is becoming real. And if you look at the Facebook numbers, how much they invested, that there is 10,000 employees working in their labs on VR, AR. This is becoming a real future. So that's where we started, 2018. And my idea was actually about how to use the technology in sport, and especially in team sport, where it's not only about how strong athlete, how physically good you are, but mainly about how you can cooperate, how intelligent player you are. So if you look at hockey, basketball, football, soccer, there is a strong advantage in those players that can really develop the play. And that's something that I strongly believe can be taught. So I don't believe in the old myth that you either has to be born with that, or that you don't have a chance to learn it. So our vision is to influence the intelligence of athletes, principally doing it the way that you immerse in the environment that you are normally used to using the virtual reality, and through the number of reps of doing decisions, doing mental actions in that environment that your brain actually absorbs the information so many more times, that it learns faster, and then you principally become faster in your decisions and a more intelligent player in the real world when you are on the ice or on the pitch on in other sport environment.
Was it hard to get hockey to be emulated in the virtual reality world, especially at the highest level for professional athletes? Was it difficult to create that world in virtual reality?
That's a great question, because the world obviously consists from being at the arena. So when you put the helmet on, you immediately stay on the ice in an NHL arena. There are unfortunately not yet fans, so we are in an training environment, but you have 100% equal dimensions of the rink. You can hear the familiar sounds. You even get some haptic feedback through our equipment. So this was pretty easy. That's nothing unusual. But the hard nut that we had to crack was to recreate the physics of the game.
Yeah.
So that means, in our case, you hold your hockey stick, your normal stick that you have for the practice. You attach a controller through our bending IP haptic mount to the stick, and you feel or you obviously you hold the stick, so you feel the stick, but you see the stick through the helmet as it was real. And actually, when you catch the puck, when you release the puck, the haptic feedback gives you a feeling that there is a real puck, so that the experience is really, really real. So this was something that we have mastered. We have developed. The company exists 4 years. It's been really a journey on the technological side. We started with the HTC Vive technology, which was easier to do because of the very precise tracking that the sensors can produce. But now, a month ago, we launched our solution on the not HTC, but on the Facebook Oculus Quest helmet that has principally 100 times worse tracking, but we were able to find methods how to make it really, really precise, because that really matters. If you rotate the blade of the stick just by millimeters left or right, then the puck in the distance of a couple of feet can go really feet way out or in. And the feedback that we are getting from the pros, as well as junior players and youth players and coaches, is that the quality, the reality of the whole environment is absolutely amazing, and I would call it 99.9% to what you can experience on the ice.
This episode is brought to you by HP Plus. In a world full of smart devices, shouldn't your printer be smart too? It is with HP Plus. These printers know when they're running low, so you always get the ink you need delivered right when you need it. Plus, you save up to 50% on ink, so you can print whatever you want, as much as you want, anytime you want. Huh, that is pretty smart. Get 6 free months of instant ink when you choose HP Plus. Conditions apply. Visit hp.com/smart for details.
One of the notes I got about your company, which I saw typically in situations like this where it's this high-end technology, and it's obvious that NHL teams or professional teams or collegiate teams with good budgets will use this and will have this, and it'll be effective for them. But a large percentage of your customer base are youths. How did that happen, that you broke into that market with a technology like this?
Another good question. Thank you for that. If you look, let me flip a little bit into more like business shoes. So we operate in a typical, like a pyramid mode. So for us, the top of the pyramid are the NHL organizations, the NCAA, and the semi-professional teams, where we have a solid presence. I'm talking to a third of the NHL teams right now. Just, I cannot do more because the demand is high and the team is still small. And we have use cases there. But then if you look at where you can really make money, if I speak, commercially, then it's really at the bottom of the pyramid. That means to bring the technology down to the mass, to the homes, to the kids. We always say that this is a tool that is suitable for kids starting at the age of 10, because you have to have already some skills. We don't want to, trick anything. So if you are not capable to handle the puck, then you will not enjoy Sensorina that much. But you can benefit really, really the most if you are, say, a U16 player who knows how to skate, who knows how to shoot, how to pass the puck. And there comes in the player development pyramid another step. And that means that you have to be an intelligent, you have to know where to be, to whom to pass, to anticipate the play. And that's exactly how Sensorina can really influence the development of the players. And then if we go back to the top of the pyramid and we speak about the pros, the use cases there are slightly different, but very, very important. And that's safe return to play, rehabilitation, and warm up before the practice, or pre-game warm up. Principally, get in the flow, in the speed of the game that we can help with. And especially in our goalie version, that's something that is heavily used by the 40 plus NHL goalies that are on our platform as heavy users and use the system during their practice.
That's really interesting. Let me talk about some of the player functions. I saw some of the videos you guys sent, which was really cool. Can you kind of talk about some of the skills that players, professional or amateur for that matter, would learn by using this technology?
Yeah, sure. It's so imagine you stay on the ice. You have principally, because you cannot really skate, so we call it that we master your decision making in small area game situations. So you have something like say 14 by 14 feet square where you can do a couple of side steps, things like that. And our training is divided into two areas. If you are already a skilled player, and that's the case of the pros or semi-pro players, we put you in drills that are happening in offensive, defensive, or neutral zone, and you can master your decision making in situations like transitions, after face-off play, breakouts, shoulder checks, and things like that. And in order to be effective in this, which is like sort of a high school of hockey, you have to have some elementary skills that are still related not to the physics but to your brain, and those are your peripheral vision, your ability to track multiple players on the ice, because it's there is a hilarious famous saying about Gretzky, that he was able to track not only all the remaining 9 players on the ice, but even the people that were in the first row behind the board. So if a kid sees only the guy that approaches him as the D, and he's not aware of what's happening behind the D, then he must be in real trouble. At the age of 16, 18, this kid most likely won't make it for professional career at all. So we can influence these skills, as I said, peripheral vision, the ability to track more players on the ice, your reaction time, your release time, your ability to see open lanes, passing lanes, to have good timing of the passes, and those things.
All right, last thing. You mentioned skiing. Are you looking into technologies that you're trying to implement in winter sports as well?
My strong belief is in team sport, because it doesn't really make sense to replicate a sport which you can enjoy yourself, like going down the hill or playing tennis, so that you do not need your buddies around you. So I strongly believe that virtual reality and our approach has a significant impact in sports where if you are alone at home, you cannot simply train, power play situations or breakouts. Or if you are a goalie, you cannot get yourself prepared for situations when there is a screen in front of you. So this is a use case. I don't want to, just replicate what's happening normally. But the beauty of the technology is that you can enrich the environment that normally is not available. Such as, let me give you an example. For the players, say, if you do a drill from, say, you do a transition drill in the neutral zone, where you have a number of options where to pass the puck or what to do. You finish the drill, and you can immediately go into, we call it 3D replay, where we recorded all your actions and we give you an instant feedback on what was supposed to be the best solution that you should have taken. And obviously you see what you have done. You even see how you rotated the stick, kind of physics in the execution. But it's a fantastic teaching tool how to influence so that once you get back into the drill again and you have not exactly the same situations, but sort of similar, then you can learn from that. And that's impossible normally on the ice. There is not enough time. There are no technological tools like that. So I really love, that the technology can add more to the process, not just, replicate what exists.
It's all very, very cool. Bob Tetiva is the founder and CEO of Sense Arena, a virtual reality ice hockey training module used by NHL athletes and athletes of all levels. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you, Simon. It was great.
On the next Future Sport podcast, are you present when you are performing or preparing?
Part of the movement of the new age athlete. And I almost want to finally throw my hand. I want to, quickly climb to the top of my building, throw my arms outstretched and say, finally, someone is starting to talk about it.
Dr. Lee Pecorello has designed the Mindful Athlete Training System for those looking to connect mental wellness and focus to athletic performance. One quick note, be on the lookout for this podcast to start conducting the interviews live on the brand new Fireside chat app. And we welcome you to be part of our audience and ask questions of our guests. If you would like an invitation to join Fireside and get notifications of when live tapings are happening, send a note to our handles at FutureSport, FUTRSPRT, or me at RealBramW. That will do it for this episode. As always, the future is now. This is the Future Sport Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein.